Hello. Have you ever seen this quote? If you're a good fan of Pokemon, chances are you probably have. People are always talking about competitive Pokemon is boring because the meta is so hard to crack that if there's a strong team, everyone will just flock to use it and you'll play against it again and again and again. Well, I'm here to say that normally, yeah, you can't win with your favorites. But if the circumstances are just right, it is possible. And the feeling you get from winning with a Pokemon that nobody was expecting is unlike any other. And I think I found one. And I wanted to share it with all of you. So, here's how the story started. I was trying to make a good team to use in Pokemon Champions. Just messing around on the Showdown Team Builder, staring at some possible Pokemon to use. And in this session of team building, I was trying to find a Pokemon that could beat Fergaraf Trick Room. And I was looking for a Pokemon that knew the move Roar, which can automatically switch out the target. And even though it usually goes last, it actually always goes before Trick Room, which makes it like a really good Trick Room counter. However, recently Fergaraf has been being paired with Vivian, who can support by redirecting attacks with Rage Powder, or by putting the opponent to sleep with Sleep Powder. And since grass types are immune to both of these powder moves, I was looking for a grass type Pokemon that knew Roar. So, I searched it up and a couple options showed up, but one stood out to me, and that one was Torterra. Now, if I wanted a grass type that could counter Trick Room, I would have just picked Sinistcha because it has Imprison and stuff. But the thing is, Torterra is so much more than just a Trick Room counter. And as I looked more into this Pokemon, I realized the power that it held. One that no one was talking about. There has been a certain trend in Pokemon Champions, and that trend is spread moves, which are dominating the meta. Some examples are Heat Wave, Blizzard, Make It Rain, and most importantly, Rock Slide. This development has led to the rise of the move Wide Guard, which protects the user and the ally from all spread moves. This resulted in a Pokemon like Toxapex that was considered pretty trash in VGC in the past to be one of the top threats due to its great type matchup into the meta, insane bulk, and access to Wide Guard. Another Pokemon that often runs Wide Guard has been Aerodactyl, who also is pretty good right now due to its high speed, access to both Tailwind and Rock Slide, and Unnerve ability, preventing the usage of berries by the opponent. And it just so happens that Torterra also gets Wide Guard. However, while Toxapex is very bulky, it struggles to do immediate damage, and Aerodactyl is the exact opposite. While it can get off damage before most other Pokemon, its lack of bulk makes it very difficult to keep around and spam Wide Guard. Torterra is the ultimate balance, having the best of both worlds as it has very good bulk and good attack. But the biggest reason I thought Torterra is one of the best hidden gems is its synergy with Mega Charizard Y. Honestly, I don't think that there's a better Pokemon in Champions right now that is built better to support Mega Charizard Y than Torterra. We've already stated how Torterra can protect Charizard from Rock Slide with Wide Guard. However, the real synergy is focused on their types. Mega Charizard Y is a Fire and Flying type, just like its base form, which means it's weak to Water, Electric, and 4 times weak to Rock. All these types Torterra can hit are super effective due to its Grass and Ground typing, also allowing it to resist 2 of them. Torterra's weaknesses are to Fire, Bug, Flying, and a 4 times weakness to Ice. Charizard resists and or hits 3 of these types for super effective, giving this pairing great defensive and offensive synergy. Being able to support one of the top meta threats, making it even more threatening, is already a very good reason to use Torterra. But it doesn't just support the meta, it also counters a lot of it. A very common occurrence in Pokemon is trios. You have legendary trios, sub-legendary trios, starter trios, and whatever this trio is. And this trend remains in competitive VGC as well, many centered around type synergy. Most famously, there's the Elemental Trio, the Disaster Trio, and the Fantasy Trio. And in Pokemon Champions, there's a new trio dominating the field, the SKB core, made up of Sneasler, Kingambit, and Basculegion. This pairing of Pokemon have been winning King of the Hill since Champions came out, and it just so happens that one green turtle matches up greatly into this core. All of the SKB trio are physical attackers, and with Torterra's high defense stat, it can take all of their attacks pretty well. While looking at the types of the core, all of them are weak to Torterra's stab. Kingambit and Sneasler are both weak to an Earthquake, and Basculegion, who could normally match up well into ground types, finds itself as the nail that Torterra's Wood Hammer hits. But that's just one combination of Pokemon. So let's look at some other top Pokemon that Torterra is great into. Tyranitar, Excadrill, Goldengo, Melodic, Raichu, Primarina, Archaludon, Glamora, Blastoise, Politoed, Swampert, Metagross, Mawile, and Gengar. Whew. Yeah, to be fair, not all of these matchups are going to be completely in Torterra's favor, as a couple of these Pokemon will run Tech Ice moves that can threaten Torterra, but you get the point. So, to overview, Torterra can enable Pokemon with Wide Guard, especially the King Charizard Y, and also has a very good matchup into the meta. Looking at popular team archetypes, Torterra matches up great into many, such as Rain due to its grass typing, even better into Sand, Trick Room due to its access to Roar, and yeah, usually Trick Room teams come with Fake Out, but just give me a second when I talk about the team I made, and Perish Trap due to the same reason. So going back to the start, I decided to build my team centered around Torterra and Mega Charizard Y. I added Aerodactyl for speed control and a way to hit other Charizards, Sylveon for strong Fairy Stab, Sneasler because it's fast and counters fairies, and Hydreigon, which matches up good into weather teams, besides snow, and as a dark type, it can threaten many Trick Room setters with a Dark Pulse, one-hit KO. So yeah, going back to the Fake Out dilemma, if I'm playing against a hard Trick Room team, I would lead both Torterra and Hydreigon, which can threaten to deny my opponent Trick Room. Now, in close team sheets, my opponent would usually Fake Out Hydreigon, because it's the more threatening Pokemon, but then I just roar with Torterra and that's that. And in open team sheets, it gets a little trickier. I kinda just have to hope that the Fergaraf isn't Colbur Berry. So I guess in the end, even though I was searching for a Trick Room counter, I ended up finding something far more useful. I ended up playing this team a lot on the Pokemon Showdown Best of 1 ladder, and actually ended up making it to top 300 with an ELO of 1674, which is actually the highest I'd ever gotten to. Although, that was a couple weeks ago, and now that ELO doesn't even make top 500, so you're just gonna have to trust me, I guess. But anyways, I would say the point of all this is defining a Pokemon based on how strong it is, for examples by the stats, typing, and ability, isn't always true. Looking at Torterra in the vacuum, it isn't anything special. It doesn't have an insane stat spread, I mean, not a single stat reaches 110. And its typing isn't especially anything to write home about either. And its abilities don't really have it do anything unique. However, I think the strength of a Pokemon in VGC isn't based on these factors, but mostly based on how well they match up into most of the field. This is why in the past, Pokemon like Crobat, Durant, Bramblegast, and Aerodactyl have gotten usage. And I think Torterra falls on this category of Pokemon as well. And I think it has a real chance of popping up to take the crown. Hey, if you're still here, that probably means you enjoyed the video, so please leave a like and or subscribe. I work really hard on these kinds of videos. I mean, you can only do so much with Canva, a Chromebook, and a Dream. Also, here's the rental code for the team if you want to try it out in Pokémon Champions. And of course, thanks for watching.